Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech SportsCar Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Rick Ginsburg. Joining me in the announce booth, as always, Larry Lefty McLeod with Jonathan Grabowski working behind the scenes, giving you all the best news of tonight's 60-minute sprint race. Tonight, our LMP3 and GT4 racers descend upon Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, just off the banks of the River Boda and 2 hours southwest of Berlin. Oschersleben was just the 4th permanent race circuit in Germany when the green flag first flew in 1997. And not unlike our round 3 host, Mid-Ohio, 2.3-mile, 14-turn Oschersleben features multiple short straights tied together with low-speed hairpins and chicanes to make for what will be a very, very difficult course to pass on. Passing definitely going to be a premium here tonight. And iRacing, I can warn you right now, is absolutely brutal with off-track penalties here. And so, good evening, Larry. You know, we've had a few weeks to recover from the madness of Mid-Ohio, but tonight, as East Verden Washington at Oschersleben, that's supposed to be tonight, it's going to be madness at Oschersleben.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it that's what that translates to, but yes. I'm glad you brushed up on your Sprechen zu Deutsch, because I do not Sprechen. But we are here at what's a new track to a lot of folks. It's been in the sim a couple of seasons now.
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah, but not a lot of competition, so I think it's the first time for any of our Monday night races to visit this place. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. We've gotten some driver reviews. I'm not sure they're stellar reviews, but they are reviews. And we'll see how it actually plays out in the 60 minutes.
Yeah, I think some of the officials are here this week, so it's pretty good timing that these racers can get a little double duty, get some extra practice in here for those races as well. Let's do this. Why don't we turn things over like we always do to Kevin Ford. He's going to give us tonight's track guide of our circuit tonight, Oschersleben.
Welcome, everyone, to Motorsport Arena GP Oschersleben, located here in Germany, as we provide you your track guide today around this very interesting, tight, twisting course. Down through 1, now into turn 2. We're going to push off the apex here to get that rotation out of this carousel. Now up onto a short chute here. This will bring us down into turn 3. You'll notice the first couple of sectors of the lap here are very tight sections. Now we'll come up off of 3. We're going to track right, and we're going to head down to my favorite section, turns 4, 5, and 6. All 3 left-handers here, down through the apex of 4. Now into 5. We'll look for that apex of 6 and set up our entry into the second carousel of 7. Again, pushing off the apex a little bit to get that rotation so that we can get a nice smooth launch and trajectory off of that exit. Now into the quick chicane of 8 and 9 and right into turn 10, and this will bring us out onto the backstretch. Wow, busy course here in the early going of this lap. Now we're into an area for overtaking, approaching turn 11, Shell Curve. Heading down into Shell, we're going to catch that apex there. We're going to come right back, track left, almond curve of turn 12. We'll track off to the right and then back left into Bower Curve, turn 13. This will bring us to turn 14, known as Zeppelin, late apex here, and then track out up off the exit, get a good launch back onto the front straightaway. There you go. There's Oschersleben GP.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. And yeah, Larry, I think what we saw there is Kevin took what was a very quick lap in that GT4 car. You know, there's not a heck of a lot of flow here, I don't think. You've just got these very slow little carousels tied together with, you know, with these what look like chicanes, but they're almost straight line chicanes. And I think we were talking before, it's going to make things very difficult for drivers as they try to come out of the pit lane and finish up their pit stops, as we're watching right now Chris Thorman do so. Thorman actually was our fastest GT4 racer in practice this week, and he's heading out now for the start of qualifying. And look at this, you're almost at a dead stop, Larry, when you come into this chicane.
Yeah, it's very difficult pit exit because of that. It's blind. You got those barriers around you. It's a very tight last kink that gets you, and then it dumps in the middle of an opening carousel. It's also generally a long pit lane, so you know it's going to require a lot of precision and you know to try and gauge who's around you when you come back out. It's going to be very, very difficult. If anyone gets a drive-through tonight, it's going to be a long penalty to have to serve as well. Pits are certainly going to be a big part of tonight's race, and I think the other part of it is, as you've alluded to, passing is going to be the premium around here. It's going to be tough to get around someone on track. The pits are going to be the best place to do it. And I think that's why it's even more important for folks to have gotten a lot of practice in to be able to hit them just right. It'll be interesting to see. I think it should be obvious who's put into practice at this relatively new track and who has not.
Yeah, as we were watching the practice before we went on air, there was a pretty big delta between the top and the GT4 field, between the top and the bottom of the GT4 field, and very much the same way in the LMP3s as well. Real quick, Larry, as we've got our drivers working their out laps, let's here early on take a quick look back 2 weeks ago to round number 5 in Mid-Ohio, where we had twin 30-minute sprint races, and each one of those two races paid half points for the round. And let's take a look first at GT4 AM, where we had Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport take the win in round number 1. And it was an all-Mercedes top 3 there in round number 1 with Dragota, Mosley, and Chase West from Frito Sport and Aerokinetics. And then in race number 2, Chuck Lobano taking the win, Zach Mosley finishing second. I think we're going to have Zach Mosley in hopefully pre-race here tonight to get his thoughts on Oschersleben, and Lucas Dragota finished third. And if we take a look at the point standings in GT4 AM after 3 rounds, it is Lucas Dragota with 174 points. He's got a 17-point advantage on Chuck Lobano and the rest of the field. The Klim Club, they're going to be happy. David Klimovich sitting in 3rd position in his Slow Bros Racing Machine, 23 points back from Klimovich, and then Zach Mosley another 11 points back from there for Frito Sport. If we take a look at the pros and a much smaller GT4 Pro field this season, and certainly at Mid-Ohio, in his Wrong Stuff Porsche took the win in race number 1 with Robert Schwinkler from the Wrong Stuff in his McLaren finishing second. SimCity Racing's Kevin Carlisle finishing in 3rd. And then in race number 2, Ken Copeland taking the win once again with Schwinkler and Mariano Barrios rounding out the top 3. And if we take a look at the point standings, it is right now Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing. He's got a 4-point advantage on Mariano Barrios, who sits back at 175. And then Robert Schwinkler currently sitting 3rd in the points, another 9 points back from there. Pretty close in the battle for 4th between Jeff Jacobs.
Keep an eye also on that standings as we go forward, because Ken Copeland has a DNS from the rounds, did not as well. Barber 2nd round. So as we get into the drops later in the season, Copeland could be a player.
That's right. So he's going to be dropping that 0-point race here, and that's going to definitely shove him up the order compared to drivers that maybe picked up points in some of their other rounds. All right, let's take a look at LMP3, where Bailey Petrowski took the win in both races 2 weeks ago. Mike Dam finishing 2nd, with Travis Schwenke finishing 3rd. 2 Orion racers then swap positions in race number 2, with Schwenke finishing on the 2nd step of the podium. Eric Violette finished in 4th in race 1. Tyler King finished 4th in race number 2. And if we take a look at the point standings in LMP3, it is Bailey Petrowski with a 24-point advantage now over Orion's Travis Schwenke. Mike Dam only a single point back from his teammate, and then Eric Violette back from there. Robert Hartley, the 3rd Orion Racing teammate, he's not all that far back. He is running 15 off Violet with Eric Violette just 2 points back from there. So things still pretty close here in LMP3.
Yeah, very tight standings all the way down the order. I think a night like this could play a big part in deciding champions, because who can survive this race and get those big points can really tight race.
Yeah, indeed, and we've got another nice-sized LMP3 field once again. We've got 10 racers. We've got 9 that have already set times. And of course, there's Eric Violette, who's going to be sitting and waiting until the very end. And let's quickly take a quick look. We'll give you a rundown here so you can pick out the different cars on track and on our timing pylon on the left-hand side of the screen. Of course, all the LMP3 racers are driving the Ligier cars. Was it the JS320, I believe? And you can pick them out on track. Well, one, because they're the only prototype cars, but they do have the orange number boards, mirrors, and end plates on the wings. It looks like Bailey Petrowski just reset the provisional pole at 119.05, about 55 hundredths of a second up on Travis Schwenke. And of course, you see them in orange on the left-hand side of your screen. Let's take a look at our GT4 racers, and let's jump over to GT4 Pro, as we're looking at Ken Copeland right now in his Wrong Stuff Porsche Cayman, or Porsche GT4 Club Sport, and you can tell the pro racers because they've got the Ricmotech red number boards on the sides of their cars, along with the mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on their wings, and you see them in red on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. And you can tell the pros apart from the AM drivers, because the AM drivers, like David Klibovich here, also in a Porsche. He is running with the green number boards. There you go, nice shot there, John. Green number boards, mirrors, end plates on the wings, and windshield banners as well. And we can see here, going to the top of the leaderboard right now in GT4 AM is Zach Mosley in his Mercedes. He's working his final flying lap. Currently, Kevin Carlisle, your fastest driver in Pro, and then, as we mentioned, Bailey Petrowski. We do give each of our drivers 4 flying laps in order to set their fastest lap and set the grid for the race.
Good little shot there, of course, is Robert Schwinkler. As you can see how difficult that first turn complex is. Turn one's kind of a kink left, and then you got that carousel right. You can see just come into that kink with all that speed and have to take it off somewhere between that. You can see the shot there of Tom Jenkins doing the same thing. You just have to find the place to get on the binders and get that thing woe down, because that curve there is not big.
No, it is not at all. And speaking of Tom Jenkins, the Midfield Motorsports racer, has just put his car on provisional pole for AM, 3rd fastest of all of our GT4 cars. And of course, Larry, when we go racing tonight, we have the GT4, we send the GT4 cars out in the order that they qualified, regardless of whether they are pro or am. So, you know, for the moment, Jenkins, your third fastest GT4 driver, he would start third in that field, as we just had Kevin Carlisle reset the fast lap in pro, turned in a 129.31. That's 2/10 up on Ken Copeland.
Yeah, times are still dropping here as last laps are still getting in. Schwenkler's only on his second lap, so keep your eye on him. Currently just outside of those front two rows, third in pro, fifth overall. He'd like to get around that Jenkins and Mosley. Currently, this whole second row occupied by the two fast AMs. Hoping to talk about Zach Mosley here soon. But Schwenkler, he just now starting his third lap, still finds himself just behind those guys. A few others also out there still, I think, working like Maxwell, Elias Lobby, still working their last laps.
All right, well, Larry, we do have Zach Mosley sitting in the green room right now. So why don't we bring in the driver of the number 37 Frito Sport Mercedes, and let's hear what he has to say.
We got Zach Mosley in here pre-race, and Zach, how you feeling about tonight's race? Good qualifying for you?
Appreciate it. How we doing, fellas? It's going to be a fun race. It's going to be a race of chaos. I can tell you all that right now.
Chaos is good. Chaos is exciting. It keeps everybody engaged. Hopefully, you can survive and stay in the race. Have you been one of the ones who's gotten a lot of experience, put in a lot of time at this track? Because I'm not sure if everybody has.
I think I put in around 100 laps this week. I knew it was kind of a new one for everybody. I'd never heard of it until we went to come here. So I figured the best way to learn the track is to get time in the seat, turn some laps, and see what the pace is.
Yeah, and you know, it's a little. We're kind of almost saying it's like a flatbed Ohio. It's a little twisty all over the place, tough to pass, you know, and it really takes a lot of precision. But you had yourself some reasonable pace with Ohio, some success there. How's the season going for you so far? You feel like you're on an uptrend?
It's a pleasant surprise. I definitely did not plan on coming in and running with the guys up front. So it's a huge shout out to the guys at Frito Sport. They've been amazing. They've helped me kind of find some confidence and hit the ground running. So hopefully we can finish it on a strong note.
Well, yeah, look at the qualifying so far tonight. You're fourth quickest of all the GT4s. You and your class competitor there, Tom Jenkins, have occupied the second row. So, I mean, is the strategy there just to look for the AM drivers, or you one to think, well, trying to fight it out with the pro drivers too?
We're missing some people. There's some LMP3s and some GT4s, pro GT4s that have not shown up. So tonight's a points night. So the strategy kind of coming in once seeing guys weren't going to make the race for certain reasons was finish as well as possible, grab as many points, and let's do as well in championship as we can.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for tonight as well. That's a good point. Hopefully, a lot of the other drivers are maybe not as thinking it. Maybe they are thinking it, or maybe it's just going to be your opportunity to get those points here. These pre-race interviews, I had a chance to have a few of them this season, and I always like to learn a little bit more about our drivers and our competitors. So when you're not on your sim on Monday nights, what do you do? What do you do for a living, or what do you do for fun?
I'm a postal clerk at a very small rural post office in North Carolina. Most of my time is spent working at a post office and sim racing. When I'm not sim racing, I do try to play on my Xbox some. The wife loves to sit there and watch some of the stories and some of the single player games. So I try to find some stuff that intrigues her and can pull her in and really get her going into some gaming.
All right, so we can use all the bad puns tonight. Like if you're just off by yourself, you're in your own zip code, or if you're, making that pass, you're really delivering it. Can we make those jokes? You all right with that?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right, well, good luck tonight. Is anybody you wanted to give a quick shout out to while you have the chance?
I do want to give a shout out to my parents. My parents do watch every broadcast, and my dad started teaching me kind of the ins and outs of sim racing and what lines to take in corners when I was about 12. So huge shout out to my father for getting me this far and allowing me to pursue something I thoroughly enjoy.
Well, that is awesome. Yeah, I love that connection. And hey, if the audience grows by 2, that's even better. So we appreciate them tuning in every week. So good luck tonight, Zach. With any luck, in about an hour, maybe we'll talk to you again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great night.
All right, there you go, everybody. That is Frito Sport Racing's Zach Mosley. And as all of our drivers have completed qualifying, He is put his car second fastest in GT4 AM, fourth fastest of all the GT4 racers, Larry. Good showing for him.
Yeah, I
And,
think putting in, like he said, about 100 laps this week may have paid off to be able to be up in the front. As we've heard from a lot of drivers, both in that interview and a few others, saying this place is tough. It's going to be tough to pass. Putting that time in up front, I think, is going to help him. And right now, pretty good opportunity here for Zach.
And of course, we started talking to Zach before some of our drivers in GTP, or not GTP, pardon me, LMP3 had gone out on track, most notably Eric Violette, who, as he is usually wont to do, waited until the very end of the session to put in his 4 flying laps. And Violette put his car, looks like, up onto the front row with his teammate Bailey Petrowski there. And not a huge amount off, but about 7/10 off of Petrowski. And talking to Violet before tonight's race, he and Petrowski are on very, very different setups tonight, or at least the setups are fairly similar, but with some very small changes. They appear to act very differently here at Oschersleben.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. You and I read kind of the same notes there. It'll be interesting as we get into the race. We'll talk a little bit more about the setup differences and how that plays into the strategy in this 1-hour sprint that will have a pit stop. How does that go into the execution of that, as well as the durability of the tires throughout that session? Also interesting that the front row all D2D, but behind them it's all Orion, Dragotta, Schwenke, and Mike Dam there taking up the 3, 4, 5 positions, and Rob Hartley, not shown there, is actually in the 6th. So it's 1 row of D2D, 2 rows of Orion locking out the whole front of this field tonight.
Yeah, and so we'll see. There were some reports here, and I guess it shouldn't be that much of a surprise, Larry, given some of these long carousel-like corners over turn 2, Hotel, over turn 3, Haasroder, and even the very last corner, the Zeppelin curve, that they're eating some front tires up. So we'll see how things play out here as our drivers are heading to the grid now. So let's run down the starting order. Larry, tell you what, I always take the LMP3s. Why don't you take them this week, and I'll grab the GT cars.
All right, will do. All right, tonight, as we talked about, your D2D Sim Racing pole position winner tonight, Bailey Petrowski, that 118.5, only driver to crack into the 118s. Alongside him, he was the last one to get a lap in, puts himself in the front row, Bailey's teammate, Eric Violette. Second row, it's all Orion on the inside, the young driver, Leo Dragotta on his outside, Travis Schwenke. Third row, again, all Orions. It's Mike Dam alongside Rob Hartley. On the fourth row, it's going to be Aero Kinetics driver, Tyler King, and on the outside, it's the Wrong Stuff's Baron Glover. And then row 5, you've got Josh Fidel on the inside of Puck Sport Racing, and on the outside from Rockefeller, Aaron Bieber.
All right, let's move over to the GT4 racers here with your pole sitter from SimCity Racing, Kevin Carlisle. We've got Ken Copeland starting right next to him. On his left, he's going to start second tonight for the Wrong Stuff. Starting third is going to be Tom Jenkins. He's your AM pole sitter from Midfield Motorsports, with Zach Mosley starting in 4th position. Robert Schwenkler will start 5th for the Wrong Stuff, with Chris Thorman, our fastest driver in the practice this week, starting in 6th. Then row number 4, it's Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation, with Lucas Dragotta starting next to him in 8th for Dragon Sport Racing. Then we've got Chuck Labano from Frito Sport starting in 9th, with Chad Sebern starting in 10th. That makes up row number 5. Then we've got Elias Alabi starting 11th, Dale Maxwell starting 12th. Then we have Neil Weston. He's going to start lucky number 13 with David Klimovich from Slow Bros Racing starting 14th. Let's take a look at row number 8, where we've got Chuck Labano starting in 9th position. We just went down that road. Let's take a look. It's Elias Halabi starting 11th, with Dale Maxwell starting 12th. Neil Weston 13th for HTPK, with David Klimovich starting 14th. Then we've got John Casey from Frito Sport 15th. His teammate Greg Brockway starting 16th. And then Andre Wedderburn and Russ Ruddick starting 17th and 18th. And pulling up the rear from RFC Racing, starting 19th tonight, it is Robert Brist.
Big shout out to the entire Klim Club that has joined the chat and watched the race in tonight. As I see Christine, Joe, Carmen, Doug, the whole group there. They're outweighing right now a couple of Frito Sports that are watching in. I see Laura Violette probably probably cheering for Eric.
All right, and of course, tonight we will have a live starter giving us the start command. And as always, tonight's and each week's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information. And as always, we are going to have the first hour LMP3 racers. They're going to get the start command, and then a little bit further behind, they will come into view soon enough. Our GT4 cars and GT4 racers, they will, I guess, hang back, what, about 10 seconds back, and they will then also get that command to start racing.
See the comments from the drivers this time. There may be accusations of some grease laying on the track. Apparently it's a little slippery today.
and they have that happening, and Bobby Childs isn't even there.
Maybe he's the one that put the grease down.
Exactly.
There must be an investigation. All right, so LMP3s will get their own start. Bailey and Eric will lead them on the way down the first time. Again, this is a tough place to pass. We'll see who gets aggressive, try to pick up a couple of spots early. Can anyone break into the Orion D2D front 3-row lockout?
Coming down now into starting the final corners here, coming into the Bauer curve, turn 13. There's the pit out, and the pace car now on the pit lane, turning things over to Bailey Petrowski. They'll come through the final corner here, the Zeppelin curve, which will begin that start zone, at which point our starter can give that start command at any time, and we are underway here at Oschersleben as our drivers, Bailey Petrowski and Eric Violet, both from Team D2D Sim Racing, come down into the chicane over at turn 1. And Petrowski is going to take the lead. Coming up right alongside Eric Violet is Leo Dragoda, but cannot get the run. Ooh, big slide there from Petrowski. Violet's going to take the lead as our GT4 racers now have the green flag, and they are underway. It's Kevin Carlisle taking an early lead, but he's going to drop wheels in the grass. He's going to lose a number of positions, Larry, as we've got now Ken Copeland taking the lead. Zach Mosley moving up to second. Chris Thorman getting around Tom Jenkins, move him up in the third, and then we've got Jenkins. Jenkins now gets around Thorman. It looks like some move. Thorman back in the fourth, and Robert Schwenkler, Lucas Dragoda, and Kevin Carlisle now dropping all the way back. It looks like to 6th or 7th position in the GT4 field, Larry. He falls back to 4th and pro.
Rough start for both our pole sitters. We saw just as we changed shots to the start of the GT4s, we saw Bailey Petrowski having issues sliding wide. Looks like he may have recovered, but then of course we see here Carlisle happens to him as well. So yeah, let's check back in on those LMP3s to see what's going on. As Eric Violet has gotten himself an opportunity, did a good job in that opening corner, just staying underneath, staying inside, holding the position, forcing Petrowski to run wide on the cold tires. He was off track, luckily for him, able to stay on. Carlisle stayed on, but not quite as lucky, I don't think, as Petrowski was. The GT4, Carlisle in a lot of spots, but he's back there now. Huge opportunity as Copeland and Mosley now leading the way in GT4.
That's right, as we're starting lap number 2 now in the LMP3s, and let's see how much ground Petrowski was able to make back up in the interseated lap. Here as he's able to pull up within about 2 car lengths of Eric Violet. Now, one of the things where it made mention that perhaps the setup was slightly different between the two D2D racers, and what Violet was saying was that the rear toe was set slightly different for him to make for a much more stable, controlled balance car, especially on the full tires, were really effective at the end of the Petrowski machine there as he fell back.
It can do a couple things depending on how much. If it's a little bit more toe in, actually accented towards toe in, it can actually help warm the tires out lap as well, which will help you in these opening lap situations, but it also could lead to maybe some wear and run. If it's a toe out situation, well, then you're talking about actually making the engine unstable. It's really good around these 180 sweepers to get them quickly. So very interesting, the two teammates kind of disagreeing on setup, but if that plays into tire wear as the night goes on, that can have a lot to do with who decides to stay on those tires, who decides to go to a couple laps of cold tires and pit stops, because that certainly will make a big difference if they're side by side coming around at pit stops with 20 minutes to go.
All right.
Oh, we've got contact.
Going around, and
There's
they're making
Schwenkler.
contact there between Tom Jenkins getting a little tap from behind from, I think it was Robert Schwenkler in the McLaren.
Yeah,
Oh
that's going to
my.
be huge, as that was right up at the front of the field.
Indeed, they were running 3rd and 4th in GT4 Larry at the time, and that is going to drop Tom Jenkins all the way back from your second place racer in AM back into 4th. We see Schwenkler trying to come underneath Jenkins. Jenkins gives him room going through the chicane there, but it looked like Jenkins was already starting to go around before Schwenkler even got to him.
And that, if he's already starting to go around, that might be then okay for Schwenkler to be in the contact and avoid the guard for the start. Just been on his own. We'll let the stewards take a look at that. The stewards actually are already looking at it, so we hadn't seen that. It was between Andre Wedderburn at 150, the 62 of Greg Rockway, also seems like that's something ambitious as now Violet goes wide.
Yep, coming out of the final corner, coming out of Zeppelin, we have the 89 car, Violet, running off into the grass. That's going to move Petrowski back to the lead. And now, for the first time, Leo Dragotta in the top 2. They're in the number 118 Orion Racing LMP3 machine.
We'll see if this trend that starts to go on for the rest of the night. If Petrowski is able to survive his, and he's back in the lead now for Aaron Violet. A huge opportunity kind of wasted here is now he's going to fall behind not just a teammate, but behind another team here with the young Leo Dragotta. Huge opportunity for him, especially when it comes to points, because these guys behind Petrowski, they're all kind of stacked up, so huge chances here to pick up some points.
And now Petrowski opening up almost a second advantage almost immediately now on Leo Dragotta. We'll see what Eric Violet has for the young Leo for the team machine, but already Violet under attack from Dragotta's teammate Travis Schwenke there as they come out of the final 2 corners, coming out of the Bauer curve and the Zeppelin curve there onto the front straight. But Violet gets a decent run out of there as our LMP3 racers, Larry, they're already coming up on the back of the GT4 field.
Well, they are. Petrowski just set a 19.5, which I think would have put him like, the second row of the grid with that lap, and he's doing this on the 4th lap of the race. So Bailey now off to a pretty good start after that opening lap. Jitters there, as man, he's really pushing the track right to the edge as he's getting underneath. I think that's might have been Brockway or one of the Freedom Sport entries. But he's going to have to really now work his way carefully through traffic, because this place it's tight and twisty. It's also not very wide.
No, and I would think that there are probably some good opportunities for these LMP3 machines to work their way through in the 2 carousel type corners, or 3 carousel type corners, over turn 2, over 3, and then over at 7 as well. But again, so tight here, it really means that the GT4 racers are going to have to be looking very intently at those relative screens of theirs to know when the LMP3 racers are coming up.
Yeah, we had a lot of this, in different cars, a step faster perhaps in a World Challenge race last week with the LMP, I guess they are the GTPs, and the GT3s, but similar sort of closing speeds to what we see here, and also a similar track. It was very difficult to pass. At least that place had a wider track. You could sort of pick a line and fit 2-3 cars wide. This place, I don't know if you're going to fit more than 2 anywhere around here.
No, indeed. And I think we even saw that on the start. As drivers were running off on the outside of turn 2, you could still only fit 2 cars wide through there. And things are really complicated. We mentioned earlier about many of the off-track penalties. You'll see some bollards that are up in different places on the course. If you run, for example, right here at this chicane, coming through and going into, I think this is into McDonald's, if you even tap one of those bollards, you will get not only an off-track penalty, but you'll get a slowdown penalty as well. It's really pretty drastic. It's funny, talking to Eric, he said, since a lot of people use that first bollard that's closest to the track surface, if the driver ahead of you knocks down one of the bollards and you then have lost basically your reference point, you could then very easily end up getting an off-track penalty as well, because that bollard's no longer there.
Yeah, it's a great marker until it's not there. And then it's like, well, I hope I'm right. Nope, it's a 1X.
Yeah.
Or even a
or a
penalty.
slowdown penalty, yeah.
Yeah. So early on here, we saw the issues there with Jenkins in the spin that he had. That really did hurt him. We saw some of the other drivers have slight offs and ons, like Bill Petrowski, our leader, and we saw our pilot, who's now looks like he's holding the position here with Travis Schwenke. Awfully a lot of pressure there. But for Jenkins, it really dropped him down the order. He finds himself now fighting back there in 9th and AM, 13th overall in our GT4s. Tough for him. And there's Schwenkler there. He was a part of that. He's got the GTPs, or the LMP3s running underneath him. And he's just trying to stay out of their way. This is a pretty good battle for third here in the LMP3s, Eric Violet and Travis Schwenke.
Yeah, and Kevin Carlisle now, Larry, has made his way back up into 3rd in Pro and 4th overall in GT. So good recovery for him. See how tight it is coming through some of those chicanes where there just is nowhere to go.
Yeah. Oh, it's getting hectic. Who's that spinning? Is that?
That was Mike Dam as he came up very, very quickly on the back of his teammate Robert Hartley, Larry, and I don't know if he just thought he was going to be able to make the corner from the outside there, or perhaps he just lost a lot of downforce there.
Take a look. The third car in there, I think, is Tyler King, and I think that may have caught a little bit of Mike Dam out. He was expecting there to be 2 there, and all of a sudden he was having to make room for 3. Got his tires on track left there. Luckily for him, didn't hit anything. But yeah, it certainly lost a ton of track time. He's now probably about 10 seconds down from where he was just a minute ago.
Yeah, and of course what we're seeing here, and much like at Mid-Ohio with a number of these slower corners, the LMP3s are not getting a lot of help from a lot of aero help here, especially if they're very tight running and close racing with the cars ahead.
I may have said this other thing. I think it's actually Josh Vidal who is in that group right there, and that's a good shot of him right now, just right behind Schwenke, just ahead of Rob Hartley, and now he's trying to make his way through this GT4 traffic. He's got, I think that's Chuck Labano right in front of him that he's trying to get through, and now that's Hartley going wide.
And as Hartley tried to make his way through traffic, he now goes off and recovers. So drop Hartley down to 7th in LMP3.
Oh yeah, rough going here for a couple of the Orion racers. Hartley came right back on in front of Dale Maxwell and did a good job to not get it back to him. He had David Klimovich. Check this opportunity to mention Klimovich with all his fans watching, but he was right there in the mix as well. Let's get an onboard here replay of Hartley coming around this carousel, gets out there and just touches that grass. Man, he's lucky he didn't hit her. I guess you should say Chuck Labano lucky that Rob didn't get into him.
That was very, very close there. All right, let's go back to live action here as we're on board. There is Robert Hartley with his teammate Mike Dam, both drivers trying to recover. And for a moment, Dam took a look to the inside on his teammate coming out of the front straight and through the First Corners Hotel.
Hectic down around that area right about now. That's Chad Sebring that they just went around in that Mercedes, and then they've got Jeff Jacobs up in front of them. This is just chaotic to try and pick these guys off. Their straightaways aren't long enough for the horsepower of the LMP3 to really do anything. They almost have to use the downforce advantage through the corners, which just makes it so difficult.
Yeah, indeed. And so many of these corners, Larry, they're turning out to be 3rd gear. Oh, and there you go. As Vidal, that's going to be a slowdown penalty, we think, for Vidal.
Yeah, as well as the D2D entry there. So which one that was? Chris Thorman.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that was the 60 machine of Thorman that was coming up on.
Yeah. So he's still trying to serve his penalty as Kevin Carlisle takes the opportunity to get up underneath him. I think it's Lucas Dragotta then right behind, also looking for a place to get by. I don't think he's going to.
Mercedes, indeed, that's Dragotta.
Yeah, they've got a couple of Mercedes here, all kind of ganging up on the Aston Martin there of Thorman. Straightaways just not long enough for the LMP3s to really use the high horsepower to get by. They have to kind of sneak in into the straightaway there and hope they can make the pass.
Yeah, and what you're seeing, Larry, is in a lot of these slower corners, they are the gearing. They're kind of caught just above 2nd gear. They end up having to go into 3rd gear, and it just seems to be out of the rev range. and it's not all that much different for the GT4 cars.
Yeah,
It's the third gear corners for them as well.
I'm over here full pucker factor watching Zach Mosley, and all these LMP3s trying to find a way around him, and he's just like being delicate, holding his line, doing what he can. Speaking of not holding your line, that's Josh Fidel is going to go a bit wide there.
Very little downforce in the grass.
Yeah. These aren't exactly tires for a tractor. As Josh now right next to, I think that's Ken Copeland.
That is, I'm fairly certain that is Ken Copeland in the Porsche, who still leads in pro, running now second in GT4. Zach Mosley, who was our interviewee here early on, Larry, the postal worker, is now your GT4 leader.
Yep. You know, whether it's they always deliver, you know, rain or snow or whatever that phrase is, he's doing it. He's getting it done in all this traffic. It's not bothering him so far. But he's being smart. He's being really smart about when that pack was coming up on him, he just hugged the white line all the way down to the inside of one of these carousels and just said, okay, guys, go around me on the outside. I'm just going to hold this area. Now he's got to worry about holding off your pro leader, Ken Copeland, as we flash back to some good battles here. It's Chuck Lovano, Elias Alabi, between the Mercedes and the Aston. It's the battle for fourth and I think 8th overall. And behind them, I think that's Dale Maxwell with 111. So a warning actually given to Josh Fidel for a potential near miss earlier is
Tom Jenkins, who's on a recovery run of his own, just gives a little love tap there to David Klimovich, the Slowbro brothers, the Slowbro Racing entry.
He just got one of those bollards. He's got one of the wrong stuff. McLaren's just on his inside. That's Schwenkler. He's going to lose the spot to both these guys. Weston right in there as well. Weston having some connection issues. Klimovich saying, you know what, I don't want to mess around. And there's, speaking of messing around.
Oh, and Schwenkler and Jenkins,
That's
who both started
hip
off in the top 5 tonight, Larry, and find themselves much further back in the field. A little bit of, shall we call it argy-bargy?
Yeah.
I don't know what the German name is for it.
Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers used a little bit of that tonight, I think. So that was a definitely good hip check there. I don't know if they're playing some better tomorrow. But huge hip check there.
Here in the announce booth.
I'm sitting here with a couple of real hockey fans here on the crew, and I know nothing about hockey. But not a great night so far for Jenkins. He's had a lot of rough interactions here. He's trying to just survive. Schwenkler's been involved in a couple.
I mean, that's such a shame, as he started third in GT4 tonight and now finds himself back.
Yeah, he was our AM pole sitter.
Like 11th. Leo Dragota running second in LMP3, Larry. He goes for a bit of a ride there. He still manages to hold on to the position, as Eric Violette was a couple seconds in arrears, and he's still about a second back. Here, let's take a look and see what happened to young Leo.
Yes, he's coming down the front straightaway. Just catch a little grass. The entry carried probably a bit too much speed. Just couldn't get it wound down. Found himself a lot like what we had seen your GT4 leader doing on the opening lap. You know, we had seen Carlisle, I think it was, doing that. It's kind of the same thing. Just can't get enough speed off and you end up in the outside of the grass. But good recovery for him. He's just going to be now in the sights of Eric Violette, just a couple car lengths back.
All right, and if we move over to Leo's former teammate, Lucas Dragota, there in the Dragon Sport Racing Mercedes. He's got Chad Sebring there. That is the battle for second right now. And Sebring's had a great start to this race. He's made up 5 positions here early on, where he's currently sitting, looks like 6th in GT overall, but 2nd in AM.
Yeah, keep in mind that Lucas is your AM points leader coming in tonight with 2 wins already on the season. So he's definitely looking to try and get some more points here for Chad, though. having a pretty good run tonight, sitting up here in the second spot. Man, he would definitely like to hold the points leader behind him and maybe try to gain some here tonight. They've, of course, got Jeff Jacobs right in front of them, and we always know that he's a tough one to pass. Maybe that'll be an opportunity for Lucas to kind of use Jeff as perhaps a pick. Jeff running fourth in pro, but always quick, and the AM drivers would like to get around him if they can.
All right, now, so we've got, what, about 13, now almost 14 laps in the books. So Piers Bailey Petrowski's going to be coming out of the final corner once again and coming up right onto the back of these GT4 racers once again. Again, our drivers will likely need one pit stop to get to the checkered flag here tonight. We think that the pit window for the LMP3 is going to open up in about 4 laps or thereabouts, Larry. And for our GT4 racers, it's a pretty big pit window. Actually just opened up here at lap 12 and will run all the way up. We figure that the GT4 drivers can probably get about 28 laps on a full load of fuel. So pretty big window. Baron Glover running without the nose on his LMP3 Ligier. Let's see what happened to him, Larry.
Oh, that is a whole lot of happening right there.
Yeah, wow, and and I guess trouble continues for
Jenkins.
for the midfield motorsports machine of Jenkins.
Yeah, he's been involved in about 3 incidents, maybe 4 now already. As Glover's going to need some repairs for that wrong stuff LMP3. Let's get back to this, because I think this is for the lead in GT4. Zach Mosley, Ken Copeland, Kevin Carlisle, all together. And it looks like Copeland's going to go for the pass on the inside. Not going to make it.
Wow, coming right across his nose.
Almost got in the back of it. It may have caused him to spin.
As Copeland goes around into the gravel trap there over at turn 1, going into turn 2 at Hotel.
All this back and forth, just Copeland trying to get safely back on track. Yeah, let's catch this replay. So Copeland shows to the inside. Mosley, good job of holding his line. He almost got it chops the nose a little bit, but Copeland doesn't quite get it woed down enough, I don't think, or maybe he didn't expect as much slowing that Mosley did and gets right into the back of him, and he ends up taking the brunt.
So that moves Ken Copeland now back to 4th in pro, but more importantly, Larry, I think it's 9th in GT4. So he's got a long way to go. Now he's got Dale Maxwell ahead of him.
And he's got Robert Schwenkler, who's been involved in some things, about 3 seconds behind him. So we'll see if Schwenkler and Copeland come together there, and those wrong stuff teammates, see how that plays out as things go on, as the train behind Jeff Jacobs is still there.
It's longer choo-choo.
Yeah, and I think Baron Glover did not stop for repairs. He's just out there with front clip missing. He's just going to make his way through. Car must be handling okay, and that's Leo Jagoda. Right there, your second place overall in this race in LMP3. He's trying to make his way through. Shows the pace that Jagoda's having here. He's just holding that second spot, making his way through traffic. A couple ticks there ahead of Eric Violet as we go on board with Lucas. Did a good job of defending here. One Mercedes on another with Chad Saber and Chuck Labano now up behind them. One of Mercedes there, even behind Labano. Dale Maxwell, another one.
Mike Dam coming in for a pit stop here, Larry, and again, maybe a little bit on the early side.
Yeah, I wonder if he's looking for a, either just a mental reset or maybe a little bit of a traffic opportunity. With this track being so short, though, I can't imagine there's going to be anywhere where you're truly free of traffic. But let's wait and see. Maybe it was just something he just wanted to break.
Yeah, we're going to take a look and see if he had, we saw him go off track before, but I wonder if there was any, although he was barely in the pit stall there to take on any kind of repairs. But again, we saw that pit stop maybe 2 laps earlier than we had expected for even the opening of the LMP3 pit window.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We know he did have his issues earlier with that one big slide. Maybe he's just looking for a new set of tires. Maybe just kind of hit the reset, stay away from folks, and run his own strategy. Let's wait and see.
He's now hooked up right behind. Who is he behind here?
It's your race leader, Billy Petrowski.
Yeah, that's Petrowski ahead of him.
Yeah, so he's basically a lap down from Bailey. It's a good mark to be behind if he can stay with him for a couple laps. I mean, even if you're a lap down, obviously you've already done your stop, but certainly the best gauge out there right now, considering Bailey's got fastest lap of the race by anybody, and he's still running 119s pretty much every time around.
Here's the train, Larry, and I, don't tell me I haven't done my research, because apparently Oschersleben is the most important railway station on the Magdeburg-Halberstadt tile line. So
you have definitely done your homework there.
That's right.
Bravo. Well, we'll see if Lucas tries to do something, or any of these guys to do something different, because we're coming up, 35 minutes to go in this thing. If I'm Lucas, I'd be diving into the pits.
Yeah, at this point, to do anything to get around Jeff Jacobs, Zach Mosley, at this point is about 12 seconds up the road from him, and then that gap is only expanding.
Yeah, rather than losing any amount of time here, maybe there's an opportunity, but Jeff Jacobs did a good job of driving that good, solid, I'm not going to call it the defensive line. He's driving good, solid lines to hold his position. Breaks in a good spot, gets good corner exit, defends well. Yeah, if I'm Lucas, or even behind him, Chad Saber and Chuck Lovato, I'd be thinking, maybe it's the night where I come in early. So much traffic. So much traffic. We got 29 cars on this track tonight.
Yeah, somewhere, let's see, 10, about 29.
Math.
Don't ask me to do math. Things are tightening up here down on the front straight, Larry.
Yeah, I think that was Briss trying to stay out of the way there. As now, of course, you got Vidal in the LMP3 trying to make his way around Lucas and then around Jeff Jacobs. He gets around Lucas, barely. As they come up to the final corner.
Yeah,
Still
I think
none of this
on
pack
the front straight. Yeah, that was coming down that long-ish back straight in the shell curve.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Bailey Petrowski just resets fast lap, Larry, at a 118.9. He is lapping almost 0.6 of a second faster than Leo Dragota, currently running in second.
He is.
But I think Dragota at this point may be a little bit more concerned about Eric Violet directly behind him, because Violet's been making a crown. I think he's missing a second back at this point.
Yes, I think that's exactly it. He's got to worry about Violet back there. He'll just having to run his race and just kind of consider Bailey will do what Bailey does. There is Bailey doing what he does, which is typically precise. We talked to him earlier in the season. The opening round, I think we talked to him, and he just wanted to be clean, just didn't want to make the mistakes. And whether it's this car or the GTPs in the alternating weeks, he's the man when it comes to prototypes right now. But look at this, it's getting spicy here.
Well, Lucas found a way around him, Larry.
But now it's Chad's time. Yep. Chad's gonna have to try. Behind him, Chuck Lovato.
Yeah, let's see. Let's pull up. Let's see how Lucas Dragota got this done.
Late apex. Jeff had to get defensive going into the chicane and just couldn't quite hold that line. He might have had a bit of a slow exit coming out of that prior 180 as they went down towards McDonald's, but a good pass there for Lucas. Love the names around this place. The Amman curve, the Bauer curve, the Zeppler curve, and McDonald's.
McDonald's.
They come up to the hospital there. Oh, pass going on here. That's Copeland going down the inside of Labano.
And he gets the pass done.
Yeah. Copeland doing what he can to get back up at the front. Labano, if anything, giving a little Specniana push there from the back, it looked like. And around what they call the triple. I'm guessing based on the number of apexes. It's appropriately named.
I think so, yeah. You take a quick run, full speed over at turn 4, which is the first left-hander, and then you've got the 2 more apexes at 5 and 6 before you have to switch back almost immediately for the other carousel over at turn 7.
It needs a name, that other carousel.
It does.
Named everything else here except for that. You have to work on that.
I'll get right on it. Oh! Leo Dragoto again going off course, and this time, Larry, he did not have the gap to hold off Eric Violette, nor did he have the time to hold off Travis Schwenke. That's going to drop Leo Dragoto from second down to 4th.
That looks like it was down in the unnamed corner, just past the triples. As he goes around apex 1, apex 2, apex 3, and just can't quite get it slowed down without the rear locking up first, and off he goes. That's an issue in these cars. Brake lockup always seems to come into play. We were just talking about how good he was doing at holding off Eric Violette. Well, Violette now is up to second, with the Orion teammates Schwenke and Dragoto now holding 3rd and 4th. There's third. Holding second spot now, trying to get around the GT4 of Robert Brist.
And Petrowski might have had some issues on the last lap, Larry. It may have just been traffic related. Is he, remember he reset fast lap, I think 2 laps in a row. And the last time by, it was almost 4 seconds off the previous pace.
Yeah, he's coming into some battles, not just traffic, but when they're battling, it's going to be very difficult to ride. This is Robert Schwenkler. He's going to go on by Chuck Urbano, and then he's going to come up on that foursome we were talking about before with now Lucas and Jeff Jacobs and this whole gang. So he's going to have to find his way through here carefully. He gets past Copeland, but 2 corners may be tough to get by anyone. Past Jacobs, who's got one more, and Lucas maybe by the end of the straightaway. He's got to switch sides to do it. They comply.
All right, coming in now, Ken Copeland pitting in from 5th in pro, but a very distant 5th in pro.
Not at all surprised here. Yeah, great move, I think, for him because he was behind that train we were just talking about with Lucas and Jeff Jacobs, Chad Seaver, and Chuck Urbano. He was in that mix. Better to just come in, maybe find himself a couple laps to clear traffic, as well as is Tyler King pitting from 5th.
All right, also there's Tyler King in the 428 machine. He's on the pit lane as well, and Copeland now returns, and Copeland, he is sitting, I think, 16th or 17th in GT4 at this point. And Josh Vidal with that very colorful Hutch Sport Racing machine. He comes down the pit lane as well. Larry, why don't we do this? Why don't we quickly here drop out and thank some of our partners and sponsors, go for commercials, as Vidal, I think, gives a love tap there to Tyler King. Let's take a quick little break, and then when we come back, we will take our viewers all the way to the checkered flag where you're watching currently the Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SDK Foundation here at Oschersleben on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts, Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Motorsport Arena Oschersleben for round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, perfect timing, because our overall leader, Bailey Petrowski, comes down the pit lane, and we're now watching here leaving the pits. Well, we were watching another driver leaving the pits.
Chad Sebring. Yep, so Petrowski coming in with about a 20-second lead when he came in over his teammate Eric Violet. So we'll see how this goes. If it's smooth, he puts himself in a really good position with about 25 minutes left in this thing. We're also watching the other pit stops. None of the leaders yet in GT4s. Ken Copeland, we saw him pit first, really, of the lunge of the pack. He was able to stay ahead of then pitters Chuck Labano, Chad Sebring. They were in his mix. So Copeland trying to work his way back up the order, did it with a good pit stop. Petrowski, good clean stop. Watch this exit as we're on board and how difficult and tight that is. And you're looking over your shoulder at cars basically dive bombing you all the way into turn 1. So good job there for Petrowski.
Yeah, he came out just in the perfect time and perfect space, Larry's. He had nobody there to dive bomb him.
So we've gotten a name proposed. I think originally he thought Plain Joe, part of the Clinton Club, was trying to name the carousel, but I think he admits he's got a better name for the chicane. The Twisty Tourney is the name for the chicane, which I guess makes the carousel the Turny. We're going to stick with those creative names to name the unnamed corners.
Turny McTurnface,
Yes.
Given that we've already got McDonald's there, I figured at least one more McTurn would be right. Yes. And Director John says grimace, which I think we've already seen a couple of drivers do that as they've gone through there tonight.
I'm sure Leo Dragotta had a grimace on his face when he spun in that corner, so it's appropriate. Oh, speaking of Leo, not in good ways. He's inside of your AM leader Mosley, and gives Mosley something to watch.
Oh my!
For a long time. Oh wow! Good job by Zach to avoid that. Leo Dragotta just a passenger there for a while.
To slow down and continue to look straight in eye to eye with young Leo there.
Smartly for Leo, I think he went straight to the pits from here. Yeah, very smart move there. To just say, time to go get a change of driver suit. Just come on in as Eric Violet now pitting from the second spot.
Time for a Capri Sun or something like that too.
All right, so Violet rejoins in third as Rob Hartley assumes the lead with Petrowski and Eric Violet both having pit. Hartley had it off and on, back on early in this thing. down around the Grimace chicane, and but he seems to have recovered from that.
And the fact that we're watching the purple car, as you call it, the Grimace chicane, I think is just absolutely classic.
So Violet gets around at 68 of Jenkins. He's currently third in the AM category, yet to pit ball.
All right, Rob Hartley, another one of our Orion racers coming down the pit lane. He's going to be pitting in from the lead. That's going to put Bailey Petrowski now back up to the lead, Larry.
Yeah, the final of the LMP3 is to make his stop. We've got a whole lot of GT4s that haven't stopped yet, so this will get interesting. Going to get pretty crowded down this pit lane here the next couple of minutes, full of GT4s once this LMP3 of Rob Hartley resumes his run on the track. Taking the GT4s, there's your leader, Kevin Carlisle. Remember, he was your pole sitter, had that issue on turn 1, lap 1, lost a bunch of positions, but with some good driving and some help with some attrition around him, has got himself right back to the front of this thing. Long before Carlisle decides to pit, he's got pretty much free run at the track right now. He may stay out as long as he can. He's going to hold his position there and make, I think it might be race leader Petrowski go around him. There's your AM leader, Zach Mosley, who is yet to pit as well. He's about 6 seconds or so behind Carlisle, the pro leader. Mosley's got about 15 seconds on Lucas Tragoda, currently second in GT4 AM. So far, still a solid run here for Mosley. Not quite pushing Carlisle, pushing the leaders like he was, but still holding the lead in AM.
Yeah, with 5 seconds up the road to Kevin Carlisle, he's in a nice little spot right now.
Yeah, well, let's check in on everyone's favorite. Klimovich, David Klimovich, just ahead of Elias Alabi there. This is a battle for 5th in AM between the Porsche and the Aston. Klimovich in the familiar Porsche, holding his line.
Wow, look at the way the Porsche is just hunting for grip coming out of the front corner there. And apparently he does get the power down, Larry, a little bit faster than the Porsche. The Porsche, though, we'll see if it's able to go a little bit deeper on the brakes. It is, as Klimovich holds off Alabi there coming into that first chicane.
Did he leave the door open on the inside, allowing Alabi to get alongside? Now Klimovich gets the inside for the Haasroder corner coming up next. He's going to hold that inside, and well, apparently he's going to knock on that door. He's going to push Klimovich around a little bit. That's not going to make the fans happy.
No, it is not. We'll have to see what the stewards think about that. Is a little door-to-door action there coming into Haasroder, into that left-hand carousel.
Yeah, just a little bit. I don't know if perhaps if Klimovich rode out, as Jenkins behind's having another issue as well alongside one of the LMP3s. I don't know if there was contact, but Jenkins certainly took a little bit of a slide.
All right, we'll see if we can see exactly what happened there. But Klimovich and that Porsche has been getting pushed around quite a bit here. As Zach Mosley now pitting in from the lead, and AM pitting in from second in GT4. That's going to move Thorman now up into second in GT4, second in Pro.
Yeah, let's get that replay here. So it was a self-induced slide, looked like, for Jenkins. He managed to just get it down on the access road, back around on the track. That's kind of the wrong direction. As our corner workers are watching, going, I think he needs to be facing the other way. As they're talking about it.
Yeah, they're discussing it. Oh, and that's what we saw.
Yes.
That's when we rejoined the action there, Larry. With a little bit of brake lock up there.
All right, so that's a rough going there for Jenkins. But let's flash back to the leader. What was the leader in AM? That's Zach Mosley from his pit stop back to the track.
And he's given up the lead to Lucas Tragoda in the 119 machine. There he is, Dragon Sport racer, yet to take his pit stop. And Larry, it looked like everybody who was still behind Jeff Jacobs then came in for their pit stops as well. We had Schwenkler and Labano come in. Tom Jenkins now, after his issues, comes in. Neil Weston came in for his pit stop, as well as David Klimovich and Elias Alabi.
Well, that was there's your leader in AM right now is Lucas Tragoda. See how long that lasts and how good of a pit stop can he do, or when does he do it? How about right now?
Oh, he's going to come in now.
Perfect timing, Lucas. Thank you.
And Chris Thorman comes in just ahead of him. Kevin Carlisle as well. So our 2 GT4 Pro leaders come down the pit lane now as well, Larry.
All right, this will be interesting because we know that Mosley should resume in the lead in the AM category, depending on the pit time of Lucas Dragotta. As Carlisle
heads back out, and Carlisle's still showing as your leader in GT4.
Yeah, I think he's helped a little bit there. The Thorman pit right behind him. He should hold this lead, which is good for him, obviously.
And there you go, Zach Mosley now, Larry, comes down the front straight, and he is going to move back to the lead in GT4 AM, and he will drop in behind Kevin Carlisle, so he comes back to second overall in GT.
He gets that spot back ahead of Chris Thorman by about 4 seconds or so. So for Zach Mosley, good spot for him to pick up some points here if he can. Behind him, though, you've got a whole run of the pro cars there with Thorman, Copeland, Schwenkler, and Jacobs before you get to the nearest AM rival, Chuck Labano, second currently in the AM. So Zach, a good opportunity here as we're looking in on Robert Schwenkler just ahead of Jeff Jacobs.
So he just got that pass done to move up to 4th in pro. After his earlier run-in with the Midfield Motorsports Aston.
We're looking at a couple of different rulings and things being made on the last couple of incidents that we had seen. You had we had one between Chuck Labano in the 34 and Eliza Lobby the 28. No action taken on that one.
Okay.
We had one between a Lobby in the 28 and I think the 93 of Mike Dam. No action, inconclusive on that one as well. So a couple of better reviews.
Been involved in quite a bit, and as soon as we hear about the Klimovich incident, which also was with Lobby, was it not?
I don't see it was, but I don't see that one being reviewed unless they had the wrong car number on one of those reviews. I don't see that one actually noted here, so nothing yet on that. We'll see if the stewards make any correction there as we flash into Travis Schwenke, now ahead of Eric Violette. Remember, Violette had been ahead of Schwenke pretty much the whole race. I think the pit exchanges may have helped, maybe some other issues, but got a good battle for second going on between Schwenke and Violette. And they're about 16 seconds ahead of Leo Dragotta in fourth place.
And Larry, I'm looking at Lucas Dragotta is still on the pit lane, or was on the pit lane for an extended amount of time. And he's just now rejoined, but he's rejoined in 8th position. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
We saw him coming in, and I wonder if he made a second stop in there. Yep, there he goes.
Yeah.
Round and round.
And
he continues. He lost a lot of time there. I wonder if he just lost a bunch of track position. Keep an eye on him because he had been running up there.
Well, he'd been running in the top 3 in AM, and he now sits 8th. And that is, I think, 14th in GT4 now. And there you go. He came down the pit lane a second time.
Yeah, I wonder if he didn't take enough fuel or something. But unfortunately for Lucas, it's going to be a rough night tonight. More opportunities for the rest of AM, like Zach Mosley, Chuck Labano, Dale Maxwell, your top 3 currently in that class, with Chad Sebring in the fight there with Maxwell. That might be a pretty good fight to check in within a minute, but this fight here is pretty solid on its own. As Schwenke now ahead of Violet, just a couple side-by-sides. He's still there, though.
Yeah, and both of these drivers have pitted in, so Schwenke able to get around Violet in the pit exchange, and now having to try to hold off the number 89 car here as we're working lap number 35. And Larry, we're, just a little bit under 15 minutes remaining.
And they may be trying to use the wrong stuff Porsche of Ken Copeland as a bit of a pick. I think it's enough for Violet to do anything with it. I think he may just be pushing a little bit on Schwenke. Maybe Schwenke could use up some tires or make a mistake around here, but Schwenke, pretty defensive. Schwenke doing a good job of slow and steady at the apex, get good exits and hold this line. This might be where the advantage might be, though, to Violet. Watching his lines through the next couple of corners, through the hotel corner. This is where they end, went side by side between hotel and Oschersleben. This time, but there's going to be traffic. That's Chris Thorman. Opportunity.
Oh, he looked, Larry, but you know, again, these straights are so short. There's just not much you can really do.
This might be it, because I don't think the 37 of Zach Mosley is going to move very much. He's going to be slow and steady on his line. He's going to make these LP3s go around and be deliberate with it.
Beat them into the chicane.
And it just looks like a whole lot of fun. Was that a slowdown possibly for Schwenke? I think it might have been.
Exactly what it was.
Yep.
We said that chicane there, Larry, was a sore spot for racers here during practice during the week, and looks like Travis Schwenke has to concede second position, Eric Violet.
Well, that might be, as Zach Mosley had moved over enough, but he wasn't going to slow down too much. Schwenke took the opportunity to try and maybe put Mosley between him, and all he did was put himself through an off track and a full-on penalty. So, you know, we've heard about this. In fact, it was the notes from Eric Violet that said this place is tough for slowdowns, it's tough for off tracks. We could see some drive-thrus tonight. I'm wondering if perhaps Lucas Jagoda had a drive-thru for incidents after the spin that he had to come through for. That may be what's happening, and with 10 minutes left, we might see more of that. The stewards are investigating now incident between the 118 of Leo Jagoda and the 235 of Robert Schwenkler. And no action taken on that one. All right, well, this is some good action. That's your AM leader. Oh, we're going to quickly catch a replay here. This is Jagoda and Schwenkler. That's the incident we're talking about. That looks a little bit like just a net code issue there. It didn't look like there was any kind of contact, and all of a sudden Schwenkler was spinning. So unfortunately, that's how that goes. But yeah, let's check into this little battle. This is a AM and Pro, different classes, but points are on the line here. Mosley holding the AM lead. Thorman currently second in Pro. Would love to get those extra points if you can get around Zach Mosley. Ken Copeland is about 5 seconds back, so not really a threat right now. Jagoda's going to try and get on by. Rob Hartley. Fourth, Hartley in fifth right now in those LMP3s. Tough position there for Hartley. As Mosley's wisely being deliberate with his moves. If you watch the body language of that car, he deliberately takes the driving line, and as soon as he's clear of his driving line, he took a nice hard move to the right, showing the LMP3 car, I'm going to be over here.
Over here, you go there. Exactly.
Yeah, that's how you do it when you're in the slower class, trying to let the faster by.
You know, we said earlier that you know, the Mosley was in a real good spot. They had the pretty large gap to Carlisle ahead, and at the time, there was a pretty expansive gap back to Thorman behind him. That's not there, and as we've mentioned, Larry, that points are awarded in GT4 based on your overall finishing position, not necessarily on whether you're Pro or AM. Based on the interview that you had with Mosley before the race, where do you think he plays out?
Is that another net code type of deal? That's Copeland getting punched around
Copeland
there by Mike Dam. Wow, Copeland was
let's
running
take a
up.
look at an overhead shot and see if we can pick up
How
what happened.
Did they get? So they come around here into the triple. Oh, that's not net code.
That's not net code.
That is full on Mike Dam just
That's the old
misjudging.
carbon fiber horn.
I promise he said sorry in there somewhere.
Sorry.
Leave that one alone now. But yeah, Mike Dam into the pits now.
Another reason for a grimace, right?
Yes, he's certainly grimacing. But that wasn't even there. That was in a triple. He hadn't even gotten to the grimace corner yet.
No.
All right, so yeah, let's look at the replay of it. Looking at the back of Copeland, who's just saying, "Why me? Why me?" Copeland just having his ups and downs tonight. All right, let's get back to this. Mosley, your leader in AM, and Chris Thorman, your second place in Pro, and yet another LMP3 coming through. See if that's is that Baron Glover?
With the yellow top, I think that's Baron Glover.
Must have gotten his repairs. It's a wrong stuff. Yeah, that would be the 13 then. Yeah, he got the repairs in the pits for his stop.
He's missing those.
He's 40 minutes in the pits or whatever it was. It wasn't 40 minutes, but
it was a lot.
It was a lot. All right, well, with 6 minutes to go until the clock strikes midnight here, Mosley doing a good, solid job. Next up, he's got Russ Ruddick in the 95, a lap down.
A little flashing of the lights as if Russ didn't know he was back there.
All right, so another ruling just made.
Okay.
Is the 16 and the 68. That 16 is Schwenke, the 68 of Jenkins, I believe. A drive-through penalty issued for Jenkins in the 68. He'll have to serve that drive-through here in the next couple of laps.
Let's see. I think we've got it here. We can see exactly what happened.
Jenkins, the lead car in this threesome.
He's got Violet, then he's got Schwenke coming up alongside. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had already yielded the spot, and then he came back down, probably misjudged a little bit to where Schwenke was. It's unfortunate for Schwenke. He was in a great battle with Eric Violet. Now it's
over. It's done with. And now Schwenke's got his teammate Lucas Dragotta, or Leo Dragotta, pardon me, I think right back behind him.
Yeah. A couple seconds back, you can see both of his teammates.
That was closer.
Yeah, you got Leo and then Rob Hartley.
And then there's Hartley. Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
And then Lucas Dragotta right in front of Leo, as they can wave to each other in virtual and in real life.
Hi, teammate. Ex-teammate.
Ex-teammates. No love anymore. Just that brotherly love. That's all they got left.
So no more sharing the Capri Suns.
So this is it. This is the battle for fourth. Those teammates, Dragotta and Hartley. I don't know if they've got the pace to catch up to Travis now, unless Travis has some damage, which it could happen. There was a pretty good hit there with Jenkins.
We got 4 minutes remaining on the clock, Larry. I mean, time's definitely been wearing down here.
Well, that means that your current race leader, Bailey Petrowski, if he remains there, will be the one who gets to decide when that white flag and checker flag are thrown. So keep your eye on that. He's got about a 35-second lead on second place Eric Violet. There he is. There's Bailey. Working his way through traffic. Robert Brist right there in front of him. Trying to go for his, I guess this would be technically 5th win in 4 rounds, as Mid-Ohio had 2 rounds in it. Action still. This is not decided yet, because this is still that 4th place battle in LMP3.
Come up on the back of, I guess that's Brockway and is that John?
West. In the horse. In front of them, that might be Chad Sieber into the 199, currently 4th in AM. Yeah, there he is in that Mercedes. Marshall's taking a look at an incident between Mike Dam and, of course, the 15 of Ken Copeland. They're going to look at that one after the race. I'm pretty sure the penalty Mike Dam is being served by sitting in the pits for the rest of the night.
And he hasn't jumped into the green room to sing for us, Larry.
He has not. I'm so disappointed. I was expecting a Brian Adams tonight. We're being told that should be his penalty for the contact. Anybody with that severe of a hit that they've caused,
they must sing.
Sing a song of our choosing. Right. Well, this guy, one minor little off and on the first lap that he was able to overcome and get the lead back. Billy Petrowski has got probably 2 more laps with 2 minutes. Hasn't seen the white flag yet. Just turned fastest lap of the race as we went to a 1:18.6. He qualified at a 1:18.5. He's basically running qualifying pace.
And Larry, I forgot this song by Brian Adams since we said that's what he was going to have to sing. 1993 is Please Forgive Me.
I vote yes.
Yes.
All right, Petrowski has done a great job tonight of managing traffic, managing pace. He seems to just be on another level. We knew that he came in with a different setup than his teammate Eric Violette. I'm starting to think Eric might want to borrow Bailey's setup the next time Bailey has one because, oh boy, look at Leo controlling in the grass. He's going to try and hold off teammate. This is now with 2 laps to go for these guys. They're going to go into the opening hotel carousel here. Side by side. Well, it's nose to tail. Oof, that was tight. Leo showing the off-road skills. All right, this should be a white flag for race leader Bailey Petrowski with about a 40-second lead on his teammate Eric Violette. Bailey going to try and notch another win here in this season. Look at this, though. Hartley, the veteran, Andragoda, the youth. Hartley pushed all over the place. Great job by the young Dragoda. Look at that. He will not be intimidated at all.
Wow. Hartley almost side switch of Jacobs there.
Yeah. Don't take out the race stewards. These guys get one more lap, though. They're just coming around to start their final lap. They'll see a white flag. But Hartley trying to play the intimidator here with that number 3 on the side of the car. It's not working.
Not working at all. There you go. White flag in the air for these drivers.
Leo playing the part of a young Jeff Gordon, trying to hold off the veteran number 3 behind him. That's the best NASCAR reference I got.
Yeah, we'll stick with that one for the rest of the season.
I know about as much about NASCAR as I do about hockey.
All right, Petrowski now coming out of the final corners here and through the Zeppelin curve and onto the front straight for the final time. And Bailey Petrowski, what'd you say, Larry? 5 wins in 4 rounds. Bailey Petrowski takes the win here tonight in round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series from Oschersleben. Congratulations. And let's jump back, Larry, to that battle for the battle between the 2 Orion racers for 4th.
Yes, and this is a replay, actually, not live, because something happened here on this final lap, and that's it. Hartley maybe either got into the backup or maybe got a little bit of rear brake lockup, and he spun himself around. Luckily, didn't take out the teammate in front of him. But this guy, Kevin Carlisle, heck of a run tonight. One little off and on early, a lot like our LMP3 leader, and he's going to get that win. Eric Violette's going to get second.
Here we go. Going postal. Zach Mosley takes the win in GT4AM. Fire him up, Larry. All right. Coming across the line, we've got our podium now.
He puts the stamp on the victory. It's the stamp of victory. Come on.
He puts the stamp of approval on it. All right, we've got our podium now in LMP3 as Eric Violette comes across the line. He'll finish second. Travis Schwenke will finish in third. In GT4 Pro, Chris Thorman comes home in second. Ken Copeland works his way back up into third position. Great recovery run for him. And in GT4AM, Chuck Labano, he will finish second. And we're still waiting to see. Should be Dale Maxwell to come home in third. And there he is, comes across the line. Dale Maxwell rounds out your podium in GT4AM. All right, so Larry, let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back here to Oschersleben, we will talk to some of our podium finishers, where you've just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back, everybody, to Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, where we've just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and that there on the screen, that is our final results, where Bailey Petrowski once again takes the win in LMP3 for D2D Sim Racing. His teammate Eric Violette finishing second, and then Travis Schwenke from Orion finishing in third. In GT4 Pro, Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing takes the win in his Mercedes. Finishing second will be Chris Thorman from D2D Sim Racing. Ken Copeland from The Wrong Stuff finishing in third. And in GT4 AM, Zach Mosley from Frito Sport taking the win. Chuck Lobano, his Frito Sport teammate, finishing second, and Dale Maxwell coming home in third. All right, so Larry, we've got Kevin Carlisle sitting in the green room. Let's bring in the SimCity Racing driver who just took the win here at Oschersleben.
All right, Kevin Carlisle coming to join us here, getting the win tonight in the GT4 Pro. But that start made it interesting. Tell me a little bit about how that start happened and what the recovery was like.
Oh man, yeah. Anyone who has pole on this definitely has a disadvantage going into turn 1, because turn 2 is right back to the right. So I knew it was going to be really, really slippery out there. And I tried to tiptoe through it, but I just broke way too hard trying to at least get a nose on Ken there, because I knew it was going to be tough to pass. So yeah, I just pushed way too hard, made a mistake, and went off. And then it was a bit of chaos after that. It was tough.
Yeah, it seemed to be a lot of chaos, and to find a way to settle it. How do you settle the nerves? How do you keep your composure when that happens to you? You know, you just blew the chance. You're on pole. Maybe the race is over, but how do you keep the composure and work your way through traffic to get back up there?
You gotta really, really be confident in yourself. Like I knew I had the pace, and I knew I could do it. I had the whole race to go. You just have to breathe and hit your marks and try to stay out of trouble. It's really hard to not get a slowdown here, because through McDonald's there's a dip right there, and there's some pylons, and if somebody hits those pylons, they disappear. So then if you hit them, you have a slowdown. So I got 3 the whole race. But yeah, you really got to lock in and just try not to make any mistakes and just be very, very smooth and pass at any opportunity that you could, especially the LMPs were coming through, and I wanted to be as close to the front as I could before then. That way, if the leaders got held up by them, I'd be in striking distance. But it worked out well.
Yeah, it certainly did. It's a bit of a chaotic night, but to be able to overcome a lap 1 off and get back on, all that, all the other crazy things that were going on with the traffic and people having offs and spins. Heck of a drive here tonight for you tonight, Kevin. But I'm sure you got some teammates, some friends that helped you get here and help you get this win.
Oh yeah, thanks to everybody at SimCity Racing. Such a good team. Everybody's so supportive. Special thanks to my buddy Chad Sebrin. He helps me with practice, and we battle back and forth a lot. Special thanks to our sponsors, Maconi Setup Shop, Oakley, Jordan, Grid, Advanced Sim Racing, VRS, Bruzy, and Monster. And also congrats to Zach. He worked his butt off and he got a P2 out of it. Very, very proud of that.
Yeah, awesome job all around tonight. Kevin Carlisle getting the win here in GT4 Pro. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Larry, let's move over now to into LMP3 and our winner tonight. He's run the table so far, driving for D2D Sim Racing in his Ligier. It is Bailey Petrowski.
All right, Bailey Petrowski, I think you're playing a little bit of a victory music for yourself here. An awesome job, but man, that just looked intense tonight. We just talked to the winner in GT4 Pro who had the pole sitter. He had an off. He comes back on, recovers, and comes back to the lead. Bailey, your story is kind of similar. Tell me a little bit about those opening laps and the off and on that you had.
Yeah, I was definitely struggling with the car more than I expected at the early laps and also the end laps. I don't know if anyone caught it, but I had a pretty good power slide towards the end of the race. I think I got a 40-degree angle slide at least, but it was a bit scary for me. I think it was in the last 5 minutes of the race, but
those tend to hide. Yeah, when you're 40 seconds up, those kind of hide. You can get away with those sometimes. But it was the opening lap we saw, but a good recovery there. But we saw that from everybody, all kinds of issues. And is it just this track is new, or is it just the way this place is that I see a lot, especially the LMP3s, I see rear brake lockup going into some of these corners. I see a lot of cars sliding around. What is it about this place that makes it just that difficult in that car in particular?
Yeah, it might have just been the track conditions that we were racing, since it was very humid. I'm not sure if that's what made it slick, but I did notice throughout the race, I started turning up my traction control because I was starting to slide around a lot and was starting to lose control of the car a bit. And that's just, everyone was kind of struggling for grip, at least everyone I've talked to so far. It's all of our lines were changing throughout the race, so it was really hard to predict what other people were doing because we would drift wide in certain areas where we would normally hang tight, and it made it very unpredictable and very difficult to gauge when to pass or what some drivers are doing or whether they're struggling or not. But also, being a new track doesn't help. A lot of us, at least for me, I had no clue for most of the corners where to pass and was figuring out during the race. And so I was being very cautious and just waiting as much as I could through a lot of those corners.
Yeah, well, and so a lot of that tonight, there was a lot of hesitation and a lot of, a lot of that unknown, perhaps because it is the first track, even with whatever practices that are set up for the league, it's so tough to kind of really get that down. But, to overcome all of that, as well as the track conditions, and to just kind of check out from the pack, says that you've got some pretty good pace this season. And, right now you're showing, based on your results, I was calling it 5 for 5 with the two Mid-Ohio rounds 2 weeks ago. But really a good run. Yeah, it's a good run for you so far. The season's not over yet, but you're off to a pretty solid first half of the season. But I'm sure that you don't do this alone. I know you got a good team with you, and you probably want to give some thanks and shout-outs to them.
Yeah, I want to continuously thank the team. Always enjoy racing with them and enjoy the opportunities they've given me since I've joined a few seasons ago. Thank sponsors to our team. Thank sponsors to our series that help make these series possible. Thank you guys for commentating on the races. Thanks to friends and family for always supporting me and watching these races. And yeah.
All right, well, awesome job again tonight. This is it's a lot of fun to watch the mastery that you've got on this car at pretty much every track we go to. So looking forward to it again in a couple weeks and Or maybe he'll have some GTP somewhere between here and then as well to get to watch. But congrats on the win tonight from D2D Sim Racing, Bailey Petrowski.
Thanks, appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, there you go. Thanks so much, Bailey. All right, let's move on, Larry. And well, you know, he didn't just mail it in tonight. Let's talk to Zach Mosley for the second time this evening, our winner for Frito Sport Racing in GT4AM.
Well, Zach, you know, you said you needed some good points tonight. You happy with this result, or is that an easy answer?
I think double interview Monday is the best result possible.
Yeah, awesome job tonight. But man, that place is hectic. I want to ask you a little bit about the deliberate body language of your car. We commented on it a couple of times as the LMP3s would come up. You look like you're really trying to clearly communicate to those LMP3s, this is where I want you to pass, not here. Is that part of the strategy at a track like this?
Yes. And it was worse because the track had way less grip than any practice session we ran all week. Like, that's been a comment from everybody, is it felt like Crisco was put down on the track before we got on it.
Yeah, we're blaming Bobby Childs for that, even though he wasn't even in the sim tonight. We're always willing to blame Bobby. But yeah, so and back to Bailey Petrowski, we just talked to him, saying the same thing, that the conditions made this place extra slippery, which just makes it really almost unpredictable in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely did. I was just talking to Kevin, waiting to come in. I was like, man, coming out of the hotel, there were times the rear would grip and it would launch. And then there were times I just kind of sat there and it felt like I was spinning in a rut and couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, unbelievable. That really it really challenged you tonight. But like you said in the opening interview, that you put in at least 100 laps this week. You wanted to get the practice in. You thought this was a good opportunity for points. And I think the hard work pays off, really is the message there. So a great job on that. But I'm sure that you got some friends and some folks that maybe are watching in that you want to give a shout out to.
Again, a huge shout out to Frito Sport. The guys are amazing. I definitely want to give props to Chuck Labano for finishing P2M because he ran the last like 15 minutes with a desynced VR headset.
Oh, man.
So he was struggling the entire time. We talked to him, we kept him in it, and he finished. And that's 2 Frito Sport 1-2s in a row. So we're pumped, man. Like this is a great season for us. Shout out to my family, especially my wife. She's fully supportive of me doing this. God bless her. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have the time to put into this that I do. So thank you so much. And thank you to y'all, man. Y'all do great interviews. Y'all do great broadcasting. It's amazing. XMS runs an absolute amazing show. It's been a dream to run in this league.
Well, we have a lot of fun bringing it to you and watching you deliver on a win here tonight was pretty darn cool. So congrats to Zach Mosley getting the win for Frito Sport Racing here in GT4AM.
All right, Larry. So let's go and start to wrap things up here from Oschersleben, and we'll do this as we always do by looking forward rather than back. And we're going to take a look at the events that we've got coming up here on the schedule. Next week, next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, going to be heading to the Circuit de la Sarthe for our version of the 24 hours of Le Mans. Only 90 minutes, though. For our GTP and GT3 racers. Hopefully we won't be spending the entire night behind the pace car or behind the safety car. That's going to be next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Then in 2 weeks, the SportsCar Series returns. We're going to be heading back to the United States and to Watkins Glen International, back to the Finger Lakes for a 60-minute race for our GT4 and LMP3 racers. And then, of course, don't forget the Touring Car Cup. It returns end of August this year. That's for our GR86 machine, GR86 Cup, and MX5 Cup cars. And if you want to find out how you can get your car on grid and how you can race with us here in our different Ricmotech and Extreme Motorsports racing leagues, head over to xmsracing.com. For Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Monday night, 8 p.m. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.